There's a lot of doctors and nutritionists in the audience, which I actually love speaking to. I teach a course on nutrition and your health factor fantasy, and I show the data, and then people who are very skeptical when they're done, you can't help but be kind of sold on the concept because it really makes sense. And I'm going to try to share with you the science. When I met, and you heard Jeremy talk about this just a moment at the beginning, is that I have some patented products. I didn't know what to really do with them. We affect aging, we affect health. There's a lot of data behind it, $25 million of NIH funding to support it, about 100 peer-reviewed literature papers that support it as well. And you know, I'm a doctor, I'm a scientist, and so I really had the opportunity to meet Nick, Blake, and Ryan, and they asked if I would like to be involved, and my first response was no. I did not want to be involved because it made me nervous, the concept of how this goes. But I think what was really kind of sold me on this is they said I could talk about the science, which is what I know and what I like to do. I didn't want to sell anything. And the beauty of this company, and I don't know how much you know about the company itself, it's not all about making a living. It's not all about making the buck. It's really about helping other people. And that to me is very powerful and very special. And when you heard that number, 12 million pounds lost, it's true. They've helped people lose 12 million pounds around North America, and they're spreading like wildfire. For those of you who don't know me, my day job is I'm actually an ear, nose, and throat surgeon, but I do hearing surgery primarily. I'm one of 7 surgeons in the country who does these fully implantable hearing devices. So people come from around the country to have it done. It's kind of fun. That's really my day job, but I have the degree in nutrition from the School of Public Health at University of Michigan, went to medical school at Michigan. I know I'm in the Buckeye State. I'm really sorry. I have lots of family here. So I actually, I just operated on one of the coaches. He's not actually a coach for Ohio State University, but he says, just don't hold it against me, buddy. And I said, I would never do that, I promise. But it was kind of humorous nonetheless. So anyways, I'm happy to be in the state of Ohio. After I finished my medical school at University of Michigan, and part of the reason I did nutrition is I realized that most doctors know nothing about nutrition. You know, we literally had 3 one-hour lectures in human nutrition in medical school, and that was one of the reasons I did my undergraduate degree in human nutrition. And I've realized that we don't do things right, even though we may try. This is just a map, and I apologize for you. I don't, hopefully you can see it over there, but this is where we were in 1990. The darker the colors, or the more brown, the more overweight we are. And roughly now, 60% of America, 60% is overweight, and just over 1/3 of us are obese, and it's defined by body mass index. So it's really, it's a huge problem. And there's a significant number of risks from being overweight. We've all heard of them: stroke, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, etc., etc. And so some of the work that I do, and actually, how many are going to be in Kansas City? Hopefully all of you. Kansas City, good, a good showing, great. Kansas City, I think it's like March 20-something, 23rd. Thank you. So I'm actually, as soon as I'm done there Saturday night, I'm flying to Washington, D.C. I do a lot of work on healthcare policy, and we're there helping, you know, I don't know if it's called Team Obama or what it is, but I've been working with the HHS, the Human Health Services, and the groups there that are trying to help America with our health issues. And one of the leading issues is obesity. And that's something that ViSalus Science has really taken on, I think, firsthand, because it's a critical problem. So while we're the richest country, we don't necessarily have the best health. We spend $2.2 trillion each year. You've heard about all the health care issues that we're having. We're ranked 37th overall. The bottom bullet is what I want you to really focus upon, is about half of Americans have a chronic disease or disorder. And it's estimated that 2/3 to 3/4 of these problems are largely preventable. And I can do this with every single disease just about. I'm going to do it for 2 for you here briefly. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in America, in North America, and a lot of other developed countries. And the long story short is this bottom bullet. This is preventable. Heart disease in most cases is preventable. And so they show the doctor talking to this patient, and he says, what fits your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day, or being dead 24 hours a day? 1 hour a day, dead 24 hours a day. So, you know, and ViSalus allows me the opportunity to talk about a lifestyle. So it's not just about taking a shake. It's not just about taking the ViPack. It's about a lifestyle. It's a commitment to yourself. The products aren't inexpensive. You wouldn't want to take inexpensive products. They're made in an FDA-inspected laboratory. They're GMP certified. We dot our I's We cross our T's, and they're expensive because they're good for you and for me, and they have patented formulas in them. And so I think also people always say to me, like, why did this problem go away? Why did this problem go away when I started the ViPack, when I got on the shakes, when I started Neuro? And I can't say, and I won't say, I've sat before the FDA panels, before CDC, I won't say this is going to treat or cure anything, because I can't say that validly in my mind. But I think that when you start to spend the money and you invest in yourself, because there's nothing more important than each and every single one of you. I always tell the story. It reminds me, one day, it was like Sunday, and I was running around. It was a busy weekend, and I was busy doing the honey-do list, and it was Sunday, and then I knew I had like 1 million patients on Monday, and I said, God, I wish I didn't have to go to work tomorrow. And that was my wish. I dropped something, I bent over to pick it up, I threw out my back, and I didn't work for 3 days. So you got to be careful how you wish. And now I said, I wish I didn't have to work, and I wish I had $1 million in the bank, and I wish I was in the Cayman Islands or something. You know, I'm being a little facetious. So be careful what you wish for. But the point of that story is there's nothing more important than your health. We heard the woman who said that her husband, God bless his soul, is back in school. She's cleaning houses to make ends meet. A lot of people in America are like that. Nothing to be not proud about, because we all have to work, we all have to work hard, and we all have problems. But you can't work, you can't function if you don't have your health. And I believe very strongly that this helps us get there. So that's one of the things. I think exercise is important. You've heard me talk about that. Cancer. I'm not going to do this with 50 different diseases, but cancer, 7 million deaths each year around the world. It's largely preventable. Not every single one, but it's largely preventable. 2/3 of cancer deaths are linked to poor lifestyle choices. And what do we have in America? You know, I'm a physician. I don't take care of much cancer, but there are people who do get ear cancers, and we do temporal bone resections, and it's not pretty. Usually it's in smokers and drinkers, and so we know that, you know, I have a lot of patients who will say to me, look, doc, I'll quit. I've smoked cigarettes for 3 packs a day for 30 years. I will quit when I die. Or, look, doc, I've tried to lose 100 pounds my whole life. I can't do it. I've been on this diet, that diet, this diet. We have 12 million pounds lost. We can help. You just got to kind of latch on. You got to find a friend, and as Jeremy said, have somebody pull you up and get you involved. It's very important. Because in medicine, while I think we're very good, I can fix an eardrum, I can implant a hearing aid, I can do a cochlear implant and change lives. Makes me very happy when my patients are crying because they're hearing for the first time. It's very exciting. But a lot of what we do is a Band-Aid masking a symptom. And so the patient says to the nurse, I stopped taking the medicine because I prefer the original disease to the side effects. A lot of the medicines we have an awful lot of side effects, and so it's better not to be sick in the first place. So there's many deficiencies. 93% of us don't get enough vitamin E from food. More than half of us don't get enough magnesium. 74% of us need some form of improvement in our diet. This is actually where they referenced, I don't know if any of you know Florine Mark, but this is Florine Mark here, who started Weight Watchers in our neck of the woods. And this is Andrew Weil, and then this is me. And they basically said, what do the experts take? And you can see my list is very long. They asked us to list specific ingredients, and I listed a bunch of specific ingredients, and all of them happen to be in the ViPack. So, you know, when I stood up, when everybody stood up, and we had one person still standing. Where are you, by the way? Yeah. We had one person still standing that has little or no stress in their life. But I still think that even if you're doing everything just about right, this is why I think you need to supplement. Because this is just one example. To get enough vitamin E from food to reduce your risk of heart disease, you'd have to consume 9 tablespoons of olive oil, 75 slices of whole wheat bread, 40 almonds or 200 peanuts each and every day to get that one nutrient. So can you get it from food? This is nutritionists. Raise your hands if you're a nutritionist in the crowd. Don't be mad at me. But so nutritionists, and I gave a talk to 300 nutritionists, and they are my biggest critic in this regard, because they say eat a healthy diet, have little stress in your life, and I'm not making fun of you, I'm sorry, but Professor Anita Sandretto, University of Michigan, says, Michael, why do you take all these vitamins? Actually, she asked me, why did I eat all these Twinkies? I used to eat nacho cheese Doritos, Coca-Cola, and what was the last one? And pizza. That was my diet in college, and I was playing semi-professional racquetball, but I ate Twinkies. And when she asked me, the only thing I could quickly quip with why I ate Twinkies is that it had a lot of BHA and BHT, beta-hydroxytoluene, beta-hydroxyanisole, which are basically strong preservatives, very powerful antioxidants. So you can put a Twinkie on the shelf today and come back 3 years from now and it's still the same soft and fresh Twinkie. Antioxidants. So she's like rolled her eyes and said, well, just eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and as you see, most of us don't do that. So nutritionists tend to be my biggest critic, but I think they are starting on some level to get it, that we can't always do things just right. So I'm going to talk about all the products from the scientific standpoint, and I'm going to do this probably in about the next 25 minutes and I'll be done. This is the ViPack, which is what basically I helped develop for ViSalus Sciences. It consists of a patented anti-age energy formula, an antioxidant, the Omega Vitals formula, and a proprietary multiple vitamin and mineral formula. I'll talk about each of them in a bit more detail. I know we have an aging expert in the crowd, Dr. Garcia in the back. I just met him. Thank you for coming today. And we were talking briefly beforehand. And you know, I always say I learn from a lot of people. So one of the things that I'm not an expert in is manipulating hormones, and it's not my area of expertise. That's an endocrinologist. Some of the anti-aging docs are doing those sorts of things. But I can manipulate in, I think, a safe and biological way using nutritional supplements. One of the things we have to understand is what is aging. So aging, and I'm going to try not to bore you here. It's pretty quick and easy, but it's a biochemical and physiologic set of processes that lead to an increased production of free radicals or reactive oxygen species. Have you heard of free radicals? So free radicals are basically, the perfect example is you bite an apple, what happens to it? It turns brown. You throw a screw on the ground outside and it does what? It rusts. That's an oxidative process. When something oxidizes, well, basically aging and living, just the process of living is an oxidative process. So we are exposed to oxidative stress, and God was kind to us. I can talk about God. I'm standing next to a baptism bath, I think. So anybody who needs to be baptized, has the baby been baptized yet? Or maybe, I don't want to, sorry. Anyways, God was kind to us and gave us specific enzymes to protect us against these. So he gave us superoxide dismutase, he gave us glutathione peroxidase and catalase as an example. That's the good news. So we have these enzymes that protect us from these free radicals. We make 7 trillion per second, by the way. So 7 trillion free radicals made in your body per second, which is the oxidative process. It's the byproduct of creating energy. So good news, bad news from that standpoint, and God gave us enzymes. The bad news of this is those enzymes are meant to decline as early as our mid to late 20s and 30s. So if you look at lifespan data, we were supposed to be dead by the average lifespan was about 15 years of age. That was in 7000 BC. I think you were probably trampled by a woolly mastodon or something like that, but you still had an average lifespan about 15. In 1900, it was 47 years of age. And now we're at about 78 years of age. And I do believe that we should be able to live about 125 healthy years. Talk about busting Medicare and Medicaid. That would be very problematic. I did write a letter to the president saying I could improve productivity and I could increase lifespan and improve health. And I never got a response. And my cynical-minded friends said, no, the government wants us to all die by the time we're 65 so they don't have to pay us Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. They don't want us to live longer, you know, so we can't afford it, right? It's broke. But so the long story short is aging is a series of processes that leads to increased free radicals and ultimately leads to increased susceptibility to disease, and then you die. So the anti-age energy formula is something we developed in our laboratory, and basically the long story short is mitochondria. Everybody remember the term mitochondria? The powerhouse of the cell makes more, yeah, I'm seeing hands waving. So the mitochondria declines, the function of the mitochondria declines with age. We have shown, and we have probably about 7 or 8 articles on this, that we can actually turn that clock back. Therefore, we make an anti-aging claim. It's a small but statistically significant degree. So I always joke when people, you know, I'll see a patient who's 90-something years old, and I'm saying, how you doing? He says, how do you expect me to be doing? You know, well, you know, I say it beats the alternative. You know, I mean, the alternative of not aging is we're not here, we die. But I do think that we can slow that process, and that's kind of the logic of the anti-age energy formula. So we've shown, not only in our lab but in other labs, that it improves performance in athletes, it reduces free radical damage. It's been shown in an article out of Italy to enhance memory and energy, and we've also shown that we can not only slow, but we can reverse the process of age-related hearing loss. I'm doing some work with the military. The number 1 and number 2 disability of our men and women coming home from, am I talking fast? Wow. So I used to be an auctioneer in my prior life, I think. Do we hear 20? Do we hear 25? 25, 30, 30? Sorry. I was part of a strategic think tank for the U.S. military, and we were in San Diego not too long ago. And the long story short is the number 1 and number 2 disability of our men and women coming home from Operation Iraqi Freedom in Afghanistan is hearing loss and ringing in the ears. And so, you know, here I'm talking to a bunch of 3-star generals, 1-star generals, and people who are running fighting a war, and that's their living. And they, you know, the theme was, how do you stop the hearing loss? I mean, these guys are exposed to 170, 190 decibels of sound, loud sounds, bombs going off, IEDs, things of that nature. And I said, and the real way that you know, about my third line, but the real way that you stop this is we don't send our men and women to these places. Let me tell you, that was not the response I got from them. Right? I mean, that's what they do. And then my last slide was a picture of the avatar suit. I said, basically, short of taking like the ViPack, you can stick our men and women in the avatar suits, you know, and they can, you know, work their little drones and, you know, do the things that they're supposed to do in those suits. But that, I don't know, maybe that's coming to they actually call it war theater, to a theater near you. So anyways, reactive oxygen species, also known as free radicals, are any molecule with an unpaired electron. This is your science lesson for the day. They're extremely chemically reactive. They damage cells, and they're believed to be responsible for more than 100 human diseases, including aging. I don't really consider aging a disease, but I think it's manageable. Cancer, heart attack, stroke, arthritis, the list goes on as to what they're responsible for. So we have the supercharged antioxidant. You heard Ashley in the video talk about 26 different types of antioxidants. It's got one of the highest ORAC values of any product on the market. And actually, this is something that Nick did one time. He basically he says, hey, Michael, how do you think we'll do against, you know, Pharmanex and USANA and all of those things? And I said, I have no idea, hopefully well. He sent it out. I didn't know about it. And we had the highest ORAC value. ORAC is the oxidation reduction absorbance capacity. It basically tells you how powerful your compound is at scavenging these harmful free radicals. And so we pretty much, you know, Pharmanex makes a good product. The Life Pack is around 550. We were about 850. So I don't know, what is that, 35% higher in an ORAC value. USANA makes a nice thing. We were about double their ORAC value. Whole Foods has a decent one. Herbalife has a decent one. These are, I'm not going to say anything bad about another product unless there's something bad to say about it. And there's nothing bad to say except that I think we kind of blow their doors off with the things that we develop. So. Much to my wife's chagrin, this is not me. That's not a picture of me. But this was just one of the things that was really kind of funny. One of our red wine studies that we did, and this is actually kind of important. One of the things that got me invited to the military, not because I drink red wine, but because I talk about it and we study it, is here it says, 1 glass of red wine may not get you drunk, but it does go to your head, or more specifically to your ears. Researchers within the health system found that when rats were given resveratrol, the wonder chemical in red wine, they had a 50% reduction in noise-induced hearing damage, and then they quoted me as, we're confident this is just as effective in humans, says Michael Seidman, MD, the lead author. So this is really what's interesting about this, and there's a lot of studies about how much you need, and we give you the equivalent to about 70 plus glasses of red wine extract in the antioxidant formula. So it's an awful lot of extract of red wine. It's not harmful. We know toxic levels, and as one of the, I forgot who said it. I don't know, Jonathan, if you remember. I can't remember who said it, but he says, that's awesome. We can take the ViPack and we can still drive home. So, you know, you're not going to be drunk after you take it. I can talk to you about this for an hour. I won't. The omega vitals are critical. There's so many studies looking at the benefits of fish oil, and this is much more than a fish oil. First of all, most fish oils, most people who make fish oils, they don't, oh, I'm sorry, you're like videotaping this, right? Are you having a hard time following me? I'm sorry. I tend to move around a lot. I'm sorry about that. I was just realizing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude, but I do tend to move around. Anyways, the omega vitals, the long story short is you need fish oils, but I also think you need things like evening primrose oil, flaxseed oil, pumpkin seed oil, and so we put those things inside there. Most people who give you a formula like this give you about a 3-to-1 ratio of omega-3s to 6s, which is actually it's very typical of a Mediterranean diet where their heart risk is about 4 times less than ours in America. We actually give you a 12-to-1 ratio because I just think we do things that badly here in America with our diets and the types of foods that we eat. So I give you 12 omega-3s for every 1 omega-6. So it's really much more special, if you will, than most any other product. The other thing that we do is we molecularly distill them. So the fish oils, a lot of companies don't do this. It's very expensive, but unfortunately we are poisoning our food supply, right? We have mercury, we have heavy metals, we have PCBs in our food supply. And so for those of you who, you know, you're around Lake Erie, I live in Michigan, I'm near Lake Michigan, and they have a warning saying if you are a woman, you shouldn't eat more than 1 piece of fish out of the Great Lakes per month. Well, I'm not a woman, but I'm a guy, and I'm thinking, okay, if they got this for women, you know, and you know, I don't want to be eating this either. You know, I don't want to be eating fish out of there. And if you're pregnant or if you're nursing, you're not supposed to have any because our lakes and our oceans are contaminated. I look at the BP oil spill, you know, in the Gulf, I mean, not too long ago. So we are contaminating our food supply, which isn't great. So one of the things that we do, dotting our I's and crossing our T's, is we molecularly distill the oils, which basically keeps the healthy product, you know, the healthy components of the oils, but it removes the harmful mercury, PCBs, etc. And this is one of my favorite studies, but there's about 100 more of this. This was a study looking at 11,000 patients, and they showed a statistically significant reduction in mortality rates from all causes, when all causes means heart disease, cancer, diabetes, you name it, when supplementing with oils for 3 to 5 years. So in my mind, you're crazy not to be on these kinds of things if you can do it. The multiple vitamin mineral formula provides critical micronutrients. There's also novel ingredients in there like N-acetylcysteine, alpha-lipoic acid. You don't typically see these things in other multiple vitamins. And Audrey Sommerfeld, I don't know how many of you know her, she was head of marketing, a wonderful lady, and she kind of put this all together. And to get as much A, C, D, and E, and thiamine and riboflavin, you'd have to consume 15 carrots, 4 oranges, 10 eggs, 112 tablespoons of peanut butter. So again, nutritionists, you can get it from your food, but it's not, I'm sorry, she's going to beat me up afterwards. Jonathan, I'm going to need to have you play some defense for me when I... No, I'm just kidding. I think that it's important to supplement and supplement wisely. ViMunity, this I actually made with one of the most famous herbal medicine doctors in Pakistan. One of the residents we trained was named Mumtaz Khan, a wonderful guy. He speaks the Queen's English, and you know, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I think many of us in the Detroit area are narrow-minded. We're suspicious of other people, and so one of those persons that we trained, his name's Mumtaz Khan. He's from Pakistan. He's one of the nicest guys I know. I love him. He's wonderful. He's Muslim, and he came to me, and he worked in my lab for 2 years. Just an incredible man. And his father was the most famous herbal medicine doctor in Pakistan, and he would see 300 patients a day. He would basically feel their pulse, and he would say that, you know, the liver is bad or this or this, and I say, Mumtaz, come on, this is kind of hokey, isn't it? He goes, no, Michael, I swear, my father, he is always right. He is very right about this. I said, well, they must have like yellow eyes or yellow skin. He goes, no, Michael, I swear he is good. So, you know, I met him and I worked with him a little bit, and we came up with ViMunity, which is very interesting because echinacea is one of my pet peeve herbs. I don't know, how many of you have tried echinacea for the common cold? Raise your hand. Keep it up if it helps you. So about half to a third kind of, yeah. So the problem with echinacea, there's 9 different subtypes of echinacea, and most people don't know this. So there's echinacea purpurea, echinacea pallida, echinacea angustifolia, and 6 other different types of herbs. We know, because I read the books, that say echinacea purpurea leaf works to enhance T and B cell function, but that root of the same plant does not have the same effect. Echinacea pallida root works to enhance T and B cell function, but the leaf of that plant doesn't have the same effect. Echinacea angustifolia is a negative rated herb by the German Commission-E, which basically means it doesn't work, it's ineffective, it's dangerous, or not enough is known about it. So if you go look at and I don't tell people to go to Rite Aid to shop for their vitamins, you should go to ViSalus Science and shop for your vitamins, but people who go to Rite Aid and want to take different things, I say, yeah, don't go there, go to a good mom and pop place, a Vitamin Outlet, an apple a day. I'm not a big fan of GNC, too big. People who work there are usually like 16 years old, and you ask them where the vitamin C is, and they say, at the Kroger's down the street. Thank you so much, you've been very helpful. In any event, if you look, my point is if you look at 100 bottles of echinacea on the shelf, 9 out of 10 of them have echinacea angustifolia. If you were listening to me, I know I was talking fast, that's the negative rated herb by the German Commission-E. So in ViMunity, we have echinacea purpurea leaf, we have echinacea pallida root, we have golden seal, we have vitamin C, we have zinc, we have a lot of other ingredients that have been shown to help, and we can knock out the common cold and flu in most people within 1 to 3 days. A lot of people take this before they get on a plane. My brother won't get on a plane, a commercial airliner, without taking ViMunity before he hops on a plane, because usually, I don't know about you, I'm always sitting next to the person who's coughing up a lung. And I'm sure that they're not very healthy, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking when you do this. So actually, this is just the quote, and they just said, but watch out what you buy, says Seidman, director of the Center for Complementary and Integrative Medicine. 9 out of 10 products on the shelf contain echinacea angustifolia. So moving on to the body by Vi, and we started out by talking about proper diet, exercise, and community. ViSalus Science really emphasizes that sense of community, which is important to me. Why are we so heavy? The average American eats this each year. Pretty scary. Almost 160 pounds of sugar, that's about a half a pound a day. That's a lot of sugar. 45 gallons of soft drinks, 23, well, tea is all right, 20 gallons of milk, 40% of 1- and 2-year-olds drink about 9 ounces of soda each day. Yeah, pretty crazy. Totally crazy. When they count vegetables, and still when they count vegetables, let me look at this, they include potatoes, which have some benefit if you eat the outside of the potato, which I can't stand, but a lot of people like potato skins, are good for you. That's really where the minerals are. But eating McDonald's or Burger King French fries counts here. This is what we're doing, 83 pounds of potatoes. 3 pounds of broccolis. We're not doing very well with the fruits and vegetables that we should be doing. So, oh yeah, just another one of these things. The handle of your recliner does not qualify as an exercise machine. And nor does the clicker to change the TV either, for those of us who like to do that. So I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about all the kits, but I'm going to talk to you briefly, in my mind, the benefits of using a kit is that they're very easy to use, they taste great, and they're really good for you. So that's kind of a nice thing. If you look at the ViShape, I don't know how many of you had a chance to try it. It tastes very good. You can actually enhance the flavors, and I'll tell you about how you do that in a moment. But it's low carb, it's low fat, it's low sugar, it's low sodium, it's isoflavone free, we'll talk about that in a moment. It's gluten free, it's lactose free, yet it's packed with protein, nutrition, and flavor, and it's a great shake. It's just really very good for you. I'm not going to go through this. Apparently this is on the back offices if you choose to be more involved than you are now. All of this information is out there, and they compare it to the ViShape, to a McMuffin, to Starbucks, to Jamba Juice, and basically they blow them out of the water. We look at the ViShape and compare it to Herbalife, Shaklee, Monavi, Pharmanex, Melaleuca, Isagenetics. So the company does a lot of things for you to compare it to help you sell it, if you will, and to help you understand it for yourself that you've got the best product at the most reasonable price, which is pretty impressive to me. And this just shows you how you can save money. We heard Ashley talk about this, $49, I think, a month for the shakes. And I don't usually do the shakes, but I do the Nutri-Cookies. I have the Nutri-Cookies for breakfast. Actually, I have a half a Nutri-Cookie for breakfast, and then I have a bag of vegetables for lunch. And by the way, I do hate the vegetables, in case anybody's wondering. Nutritionist, I'm picking on the nutritionist here. But I know that I won't eat them unless, this was how I changed my life, is on Sunday, and so I actually bought them yesterday. My wife is just back in town, and somebody said, oh, how sweet, your wife makes you vegetables. I said, no, I make them for her. And so on Sunday, I prepare 5 bags for Monday through Friday, and Sunday, while I'm preparing, I might eat them. I get to take Saturday off. Saturday, I don't do vegetables. No vegetables on Saturday for me. But every other day I eat them, and I make a bag of cauliflower, broccoli, spinach, and carrots, because otherwise I wouldn't eat them. And I don't like them, but I know they're good for me, so I eat them. So, that's the problem. If you put, again, the nutritionists say, oh, go have fruit, go have the vegetables. Well, that's fine, but then they have a Snickers bar and everything else that I'd probably rather eat than the other stuff. And so, we don't make the best choices, and I don't either. And I just try to make some of those good choices. So it really allows you to save money and save calories if you do this right. So the core kit is the 30 shape meals in the ViPack, 2 boxes of Neuro, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and some of the health flavors. And this is something where people get a little confused too, is that we have a proprietary trisorb protein blend, which has a whey protein isolate, which is easily digested, a whey protein hydrolysate, which is clinically proven to burn fat and prevent loss of muscle, and a soy protein isolate. And I'm going to go there in a minute, but what is the most important meal of the day? Scream it out. Breakfast. So I don't know how many, it drives me crazy. My daughter is 5'8", 5'9", about 100, and she was playing Division I soccer. She was up to about 150 pounds, so that when they'd kick her, it wouldn't hurt as much. It still hurts, don't get me wrong. And she was trying to lose weight, and she said, oh, I'm going to skip breakfast. That's the worst meal to skip if you're trying to lose weight. Your body goes into fasting mode. We know this. It's been proven over and over again. It's the most important meal. And you don't have to eat a lot, but technically it should be our biggest meal. I can never make it my biggest meal. But you want to, quote, break the fast. Your body is in fasting mode, which means it preserves fat. It tends to burn muscle more preferentially. So eat something. Handful of peanuts, something. Take the ViPack in the morning. That's how I get started. One of the things that a lot of people go, I am Arnold Schwarzenegger. I cannot eat these soy protein isolate. It'll make me a woman. You hear these muscle guys, these big guys, oh, I cannot take this, it is bad for me. Well, no, it's not bad for you. One of the things, and this is also relevant for women who unfortunately have a estrogen receptor positive breast cancer, ovarian cancer, people say, oh, I was told not to take soy, soy is bad. Soy is not bad, like everything in moderation. It is actually a wonderful protein, particularly if you do use the non-GMO, which means that it's not genetically modified, so we use that, a non-genetically modified. We remove the phytoestrogens. There's 2 major phytoestrogens, dadzine and genistein, which have phytoestrogenic properties. So that's what a guy who is a bodybuilder might be worried about, well, they're gone, they're not there. That's what a woman might be worried about if they had an estrogen receptor positive cancer, they're not there. So it is technically safe for use for both men and women without a problem. But it's something that caused a lot of issues over the time. So ViSlim tablets, actually there's been a recent change, and I don't ever use Facebook. I don't know why. I once said yes to everything and accepted, and I had like 1,000 friends. I didn't know who anybody was, and I realized I only have like 4 friends, and so I mean, like, what's 1,000 friends? And I would start getting, like, people would send notes to my Facebook thing, and I'd feel bad because I'd like never answer them. And I just got one that somebody sent to me about this because it's changed. It's now 1 pill a day. We have a new avodiamine extract, which is a well-known herb that helps to enhance metabolism. So this works very well. We had to also get in alignment with Canada. They have their Canada Health has some very strict avenues that we have to follow, and it has a lot of very important ingredients that help with metabolism, that help with mood, and have a safe thermogenic activity, which does not raise blood pressure, does not raise heart rate, but helps you burn things. So burn fat, basically. So that's what that does. The Vitrim helps to calm the hunger and stress. It's a patented form of Garcinia cambogia, a patented form of chromium to help maintain healthy blood sugar, and a few other ingredients that help with energy and with anxiety. It's another wonderful thing to use. These are the different flavors that you can flavor your ViShape with. Strawberry, chocolate, banana, orange, and peach. They all have specific properties that are really very helpful from that standpoint. How many of you tried the NutriCookie? Raise your hand. Okay. I've had people say, oh, I don't really like the taste. I'm not sure that I love the taste. There's chocolate chip and peanut butter, but it's a great breakfast, it's a great meal replacement, and it's got great protein in it. So I don't like vegetables either, This tastes better to me than the vegetables do, by the way. So anyways, a very nice meal replacement, and I would encourage you to get those as well. So again, we have the proprietary Trisorb. It's got multiple antioxidants, a full serving of fiber. Most of us don't get enough fibers. Prebiotics, which are very important for probiotics, and it has ingredients to support the immune system. When we look at, again, all the other companies, we pretty much blow them out of the water in price and in the ingredients as well. How many of you have tried the Neuro? Oh, wow, everybody's tried that. Wonderful. Well, so this came about, Audrey said we need something called, we need a smart energy drink. And all I could think about was my oldest son, who was at Indiana University. He said, Dad, don't worry, I'm driving home. I've just finished my midterms or my finals. It's like 8 o'clock at night. He's got a 6-hour drive. He says, I'm going to be on Monster, then I'm going to follow by a Red Bull, then I'm going to follow it by cocaine, the legal cocaine. I'm like, what? No, don't do that. And a lot of those drinks that are chock full of caffeine give you this monstrous spike and an equally rapid fall off. They're also charged with lots of sugar, so that's another problem as well. So we came up with ViSalus Neuro, which is smart energy. I forgot, I think I was talking to Jonathan, we were talking about this. My youngest son, who's a smart kid and not doing as well as he should in the Kelley School of Business, but he's doing okay. I mean, half the kids in America, if not more, are diagnosed with ADD now, and they're being put on Adderall. Right? It's not a very good drug to be on if you don't have to be on it. If you got to be on it, you got to be on it, and it's going to be helpful, certainly. We've had a lot of people saying they've had some great success with this from that perspective. So if a doctor wants to give your kid a low dose of these kinds of things, it might be something to consider. I mean, I wouldn't give this to a 6-year-old, although some people have. There are rules and regulations that we follow with this as well. But it basically has DMAE, which comes from fish. It's known as brain food. It's got rhodiola, which has been used by the Olympic team in Russia for endurance. Arginine, which is a powerful vasodilator, so we think that also helps from thought processes and specific vitamins. And it has low levels of natural caffeine. Actually, interestingly, Canada won't allow you to call something an energy drink unless it has 100 milligrams of caffeine. So I haven't figured out what we're going to do because we put in about as much as in a cup of green tea, which is about 40 milligrams. Now, 100 milligrams isn't a lot, but it's a little bit less than a cup of coffee, which is about 130 to 150. So I know that for Canada, they have to put in 100 milligrams. I'm not sure what they're going to do for us here in America. But again, if you look at this and you do the comparison and it talks about the caffeines and the levels of sugar, we have 1 total gram of sugar. You look at Red Bull, 27 grams. You look at Monster, 52 grams. Rockstar, 42 grams. 66 grams for Sobe, No Fear. The list goes on and on. I don't know how many of you tried. Anybody tried the Go and the Pro? kind of neat. So, you know, Ryan really wanted the shot, and we've used them a few times, like if we're going out with friends of ours that are like kind of crazy and like to stay up all night. I'm like, oh God, I better take a shot of Go, you know, and it helps. It's like one of those 5-hour energy drinks, only A, better, and B, safer. And so it's really energy that lasts with added benefits to help you work out stronger and work out longer, and really easy. If you want it in powder form, you can mix it in, and it's got a lot of other ingredients that are very good to help. And with that, I am going to stop and turn this